Greetings again. This is Dr. Bill White, and we're going to talk to you this afternoon about a relatively simple Class 3 case, but the result is devastating. It is far more than we've expected to get from this type of treatment, and you'll have to just think with me as we go through this case, and let me show you how this involved but simplified correction both in the upper and the lower jaw in the Class 3 cases, how it works out. And it is really quite remarkable how it does this. Now, you really need both jaw treatments in many of these cases. In fact, most of them. And I know surgeons who don't do anything but double jaw surgery. They operate on the upper jaw and the lower jaw, which is a better way of treatment in most of the cases. And I want to show you how you can change this extraction of one lower 6-year molar and do upper and lower jaw correction and finish it. And you'll have to just think through this with me as we go through the case, and I'll try to explain it the best way I can, how it works. Okay, here is a young lady. Well, we've got a whole bunch of stuff written about her on this case. But this is a relatively mild Class 3 case. And she has a kind of an edge-to-edge bite on her. But when you turn it loose, it goes down, and she has a actual Class 3 bite, but it's edge to edge up here at the front, but it tends to get worse as you go through the treatment. And so we want to really treat it both ways. And we're going to use Class 3 elastics on the upper to take up part of the space of the 6-year molar. And we'll just use moving the lower anterior teeth back and correcting the other part of the Class 2 problem. Just hold with me here and let's watch what happens. Now, this is the way the young lady's teeth went together. And so we said, well, we've got to take out 6-year molars to do this, and she has wisdom teeth back in here too, so we can pull something forward. You always want to have a wisdom tooth on the lower arch when you do this. So now we're going to recommend removing the lower 6-year molar on both sides, of course, and she's got her wisdom teeth on both upper and lower as far as that's concerned. Now here we want to, in the process, we want to move this portion of the lower jaw back to where this bicuspid is fitting right in here, something like that. And now we've got this much of this space left here. So to start off with, from day one, we're going to be pulling this back and watching it. When it gets close to Class 1, we're going to slow up on that. And now we're going to hook up Class 3 elastics up here, and we're going to pull down against this with Class 3 elastics. So part of this correction down here will be as a result of this Class 3 elastic pulling back on these teeth up here, and they'll come back to there. And we could do the whole thing from that point if we need to, and then we'll be pulling this forward down here. Most of these class 3 problems are brought about by the tongue pressure pushing forward on the lower anterior teeth. And this is what I find out in the cases that tend to relapse surgically, and they're only operated on the lower jaw down here. Those are the ones that relapse in my hands. Now others might come out better than that. But if you put this retention that we have for class 3 cases, you'll reduce the number that you have to redo by a tremendous number now. Alright, so we're going to be pulling with class 3 elastics, and we'll be pulling this lower teeth back in this direction right here. And as we get further and further back down here, we have to watch so that we come in here with correcting this. We'll have the upper teeth are going to be moving forward right here at the same time. Now, on most of these, I would want to use a lip bumper in here that would come off something like this, and then come back in here and have an expansion loop or something like that, and come back and go into this molar back here. And we keep a space between the lip bumper and the teeth here in the anterior part of the mouth, and that allows these teeth to move forward easily, much better than you just push them up against the hard situation right here. So we use a lip bumper, and we use this class 3 elastic, and we also, as the class 3 elastic is pulling these teeth back and is pulling these teeth forward, and we can actually correct the whole thing by using it in that fashion like that. And that will do the whole job. Now, let's go back, and I'm going to erase that, and we'll show the other side. The mouth is the same, almost the exact same way. So we're going to try to bring this bicuspid up underneath here and have it that way. And also we're going to be pulling forward. In other words, we're going to be using class 3 elastics now, pulling these teeth forward. So this will move these teeth in a forward direction, and it'll move these teeth in a backward direction, and we'll pull these teeth till we get the class 1 relation with the bicuspids all the way back to the back of the mouth. This first and second bicuspids will fit right in that area, right like that. So let me go ahead and we'll go through the case and show what actually happens here. Alright, up above, when we look at the upper arch, this tooth right here has drifted in a forward direction. In other words, the tooth is rotated. This rotation sign is wrong. Actually, the tooth went around in this direction, see? And it spun on this lingual root coming off of that tooth over in this direction, spun in that direction. Now we'll actually move these teeth forward. We use a lip bumper up here and bring these teeth, every one of them, the molars, the everything. We're going to come forward with that. In other words, we're correcting our class 3 with actually correcting the upper arch and also the lower arch at the same time. And they're correcting either one of them in there in the same amount. And that's, well, it doesn't have to be the same amount. You can actually correct one more than the other one if it works out that way. And you're pulling them in there, you can move the lower jaw further back, or you can move the upper jaw more than the lower jaw to correct this thing. Okay, now let's get on with it. On the lower jaw, and just show where we're gonna extract these molars. And the very day we take this tooth out, we're going to start moving these teeth back into that. So we'll start moving these teeth back on the lower arch, and also that will pull the upper jaw forward. So they'll be moving. One comes forward and one goes backwards, and it all takes place at the same time. Now it's hard to explain this like I'd like to each person doing this, but it will correct both of them if you just continue pulling that on back. Now we'll go ahead. Here is the cephalometric picture we took on this young lady in 1987. Here I think 8/31 of 87, and she's age 13 and 9 at this point. And the way we took the cephalometric picture here, in other words, she's just closing almost exactly end to end right here. So we're going to, I did not use a lip bumper in her case, but I would use a lip bumper and run interference for these teeth. And then we're going to come in here and pull elastic on this. And then we'll also have this coming back with elastic here on the bottom too. And so we correct both upper and lower jaw at the same time, and then doing the case like this. Okay, here is the tooth where we come in, and we're going to actually bring these teeth back, you see, and we have a gap, have a big gap in here. So we're going to try to bring this tooth all the way back, something like go up in here. And then as we pull this back right here, we're also going to be pulling this, coming off, pulling this back by pulling the upper teeth forward. And then this right here will actually bring this back more, and we're going to correct the whole class 3 problem by pulling it in that both directions in there. Okay, here, let me adjust that a little bit, and we'll go back in. Now here, excuse me, we've started off and we've got this lower jaw set up so that this is the omega right here, and it's going back in there, and we're going to close this up, you see, as it goes in there, and we'll be pulling forward with this in that direction, and we'll tie this arch wire back real tight here and pull this portion of it back in this direction. Now, this From the man up here, though, is going to be pulling these teeth forward, and I don't recommend we put a lip bumper on most of these. We need that in there to run interference for this, and we'll bring this further out. And the more we bring it out, the more room we give the tongue, and the tongue gets along good with that extra room. So we will bring these lower teeth back, and we'll watch that go back underneath now. And this is the upper, and we've expanded the palate some, and you can see where we've done that to actually get working off of that, and we're pulling on the palatal separator while you're going in there and doing this. Okay, here this is 1988, excuse me, and we're back pretty close, and we're still closing up space on the bottom arch. You see it closing up there, and here's the young lady. And so now we're intruding, we're bringing these teeth down so that we can get them, the upper, to come over this. So we're intruding these teeth with this intruding arch right here. And we're bringing this forward. I really wish I had put the lip bumper up in this portion like that and help that out a great deal. Okay, we did the separator, and we pull this on back, and we're just about to get this case completely finished, and we've got our lower anterior underneath here now, and we've got over jet, you see, and over bite, so that we can actually, she bites down. Now she bites something with the front teeth. The front teeth is all a touch, and you can cut something off with them like that, and then you slide back over here. And that was impossible to get there the way the teeth were fitting together to start with. So now we're back here with the overbite and overjet, and this is 1990, and we finished the young lady up at that point. And here it is, and this is finishing up with her. Now here it's going to show our x-rays a little bit better. Now you see we've got wisdom teeth. Here we want to say we're going to extract this, and we're going to back this up to some extent, and we're going to come off with class 3 elastics, and we're going to bring these teeth forward up here, and then some of this will be bringing this back the same way, closing the space up there, how we close that. Now let me go on here. Okay, here we come in and we extract those teeth. I didn't do it, somebody did. She was nearly 15 years old when we took those teeth out. And we went that day and started in here, best I remember, and here's the omegas, and we're closing this back into this molar, and we'll be pulling this molar forward as we pull this backward in here, and we'll be pulling this forward. These teeth will be pulled forward as we pull this whole thing backwards too. So these teeth will be in a further forward position when you get through this case. And the teeth down here on the bottom will close up till you get to a good class 1 relation, and then you regulate the elastic. You work with it here to regulate exactly where you put those lower teeth. In other words, put them exactly right on the spot you want to do that. Now, here we'll go here. So we band that upper second molar, hold it up while we close this gap, and we'll pull that all the way together. Now we got this tooth right here we need to straighten out, and also this one right here we don't like. We got this tooth all the way, we've got the molar root further forward than I actually want it to be, and so if you went back and looked at this, it was that way, and now we got it a little over-corrected, and we'll have to correct another bicuspid deal in there also. Okay, and now the second molar is this tooth right here. That's not the 6-year molar. The 6-year molar is moved up, and now we've got this molar is in a class 1 relation. The bicuspid's coming up in here. This first bi's in here, and these teeth are back underneath here with overjet and overbite and everything working fine. And we'll have to have retention that keeps this tooth up in the air here and keep it from closing on that. And as this tooth comes forward, it'll move out in that direction. And this is a complicated method of doing this and takes some time. This young lady's 17 years old now, and we're wearing a retainer though that fits up here and doesn't let this drop down because it holds it here, and this contact point right there is the thing that keeps it up there, and that wisdom tooth will come on in that direction. You'll have to see that to believe it, I do think. But anyway, that's what happens in there, and that was the way it started correctly. We'll close this up, and I'll show you where it goes back up underneath there. All right, we put this intruding arch on there to bring that down, to give it overjet and overbite, so it functions properly in there. And that's the intruding wire doing that for us. And this space right here, this is the second molar, came from way back here. This one's already up there, and this one just likes a little bit. It'll be there, and then we're going to hold that open back here for the wisdom tooth. And this is the second molar right here. And that's second molar, of course, too. Alright, now we've got overbite, overjet, and we're virtually through with the case. Now, she moved forward over that's 90, but we've still got some overjet and overbite. Now, we had a little 3-to-3 on her, but I don't like those strings. I'd rather have a wire go in there, and then we'll bring that wisdom tooth up in position there after it's corrected that way. So this is it at 91. It's pushed back out to kind of that form it was in to start with. Okay. Now this is done in 1989, and she's 16 and 1 month, and that's where we ended up with her teeth fitting right in that position there. So I hope you've gotten something out of this, but it's a little complicated, but you can treat a double jaw by extracting lower 6-year molars. You don't have to take anything out above, but you just go ahead and bring these teeth back, in other words, and you end up with an overjet and overbite, something like that, when you get through with it. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate you getting interested in this. And a lot of these surgeries can be done and just take a little more time to get them done. So thank you for watching this, and I'll say goodbye, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.